Calm is a choice long before it ever becomes a feeling. You don't wake up one day suddenly peaceful, suddenly centered, suddenly full of clarity. No, calm is something you decide in the middle of the storm when everything in you wants to snap, wants to panic, wants to run. Calm is a decision you make when the situation doesn't respect your plans, when life throws you something that wasn't on your schedule, and you have to decide who's really in charge, the moment or your mind. And the truth is, most people never get calm because they're waiting for life to get easier. They're waiting for circumstances to align, waiting for people to act right, waiting for problems to disappear. But calm doesn't meet you in comfort. Calm is built in conflict. You train your mind to be calm the same way you train your body to be strong. Repetition. Every difficult moment is a rep. Every time frustration rises and you choose not to react, that's a rep. Every time you want to raise your voice but you breathe instead, that's a rep. Every time you feel overwhelmed and you remind yourself, I'm still in control, that's a rep. Calm isn't built on good days. It's built on the days that test you, the days that stretch you, the days that push you right up to your breaking point. That's where your mental muscles grow. That's where your emotional discipline is shaped. That's where you learn that the situation can get loud, but your spirit can stay quiet. And hear me, calm is not weakness, calm is not silence, calm is not shrinking, calm is strength under control. Calm is confidence without noise. Calm is power in slow motion. Anybody can explode, anybody can panic, anybody can fall apart. That's easy, but it takes a trained mind to stay steady. It takes discipline to stay grounded. It takes maturity to keep your emotions from running the show. When everything in you wants to react, but you choose to respond with intention, that's power, that's mastery. That's the mark of someone who's done the work. You have to decide that your peace matters more than being right, that your clarity matters more than your ego, that your vision matters more than the temporary feeling inside you. Because when you let the moment dictate your reaction, you give away your power. When you let small things shake you, you give big things permission to control your life. But when you choose calm, when you say, I refuse to let this moment own me, you take that power back. You stand up even if your world is wobbling. You breathe even if your heart is racing. You stay centered even if everything around you is pulling you in different directions. Calm is the decision to stay in control of you, no matter what tries to pull you out of yourself. And understand this, calm is not something you practice occasionally. It's something you practice daily. You practice it in conversations. You practice it in traffic. You practice it when you're tired. You practice it when things don't go your way. Because the mind you train in small moments becomes the mind you rely on in big moments. If you can't stay calm when someone cuts you off, you won't stay calm when life hits harder. If you can't control your reaction in the little things, you won't magically control it in the major things. Calm is built brick by brick, decision by decision, moment by moment. So make the choice every day, every moment, every situation, to guard your peace like it's priceless, because it is. Train your mind to step back, breathe deep, think clearly, and move intentionally, not emotionally. Because when calm becomes your default, chaos loses its power. When peace becomes your practice, pressure becomes your platform. When you control you, nothing around you can control you. That's the moment your mind becomes unstoppable. When life hits you fast, the first thing that goes out the window for most people is their breath. They tighten up, their shoulders rise, their chest locks, and suddenly the moment starts making decisions for them. But the truth is simple. The person who controls their breath controls their power. Your breath is the remote control to your mind. It's the anchor, the stabilizer, The reset button that most people never use because they're too busy reacting instead of responding. When the pressure rises, your breath slows the world down. When everything feels like it's closing in, your breath opens you back up. When emotions start speeding up your thoughts, your breath is what brings the pace back under your command. You have to understand, chaos doesn't take you out because the situation is too big. Chaos takes you out because your reaction is too fast. Most people lose battles they could have won if they would have just paused long enough to think before they moved. But that pause doesn't come from willpower. It comes from breath. When you breathe intentionally in a stressful moment, you reclaim the space needed to make the right decision, not the rushed one. That's why fighters breathe before they strike, athletes breathe before they perform, speakers breathe before they speak. The breath is the preparation, the foundation, the steadying force that keeps the mind sharp. When you panic, you hand over the keys. You stop thinking. Your body takes over, your emotions take over, your fear takes over. But when you breathe, you take those keys back. You remind your mind, we're still in charge, we're still present, we're still here. And it's wild because the breath is something you always have with you. You don't need money for it, you don't need equipment, you don't need permission. Your breath is literally your built-in power source, but most people go their entire lives never learning how to use it. They let their breath run wild, and then they wonder why their life feels the same way. The breath is not just physical, it's mental. It's emotional, it's spiritual. When you learn to slow it down, you slow your thoughts down. You bring your emotions back to a place where they can't hijack you. You reconnect with yourself in a moment where everything around you is trying to disconnect you. This is why calm people seem unbothered, not because their life is easier, but because their breathing is deeper. They don't let the world rush them. They don't let pressure dictate the pace. They breathe, they center themselves, and then they act. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about being soft. This isn't about shrinking back. This is about stepping into the moment with clarity instead of chaos. It's about responding with strength instead of reacting with fear. When your breath is controlled, your mind is clear. When your mind is clear, your decisions are sharp. When your decisions are sharp, your actions become powerful. And that's when you start moving like someone who can't be rattled, can't be thrown off, can't be broken down by every little disturbance. Think about it. When storms hit, people scatter, but the strongest ones, they breathe, they slow the pace. They observe before they move. They don't let the moment rush them into mistakes. They let their breath create a pocket of calm inside the chaos. And from that calm, they make moves that others can't make because everyone else is too busy panicking. Your breath is the difference between reacting emotionally and responding intelligently. It's the difference between falling apart and falling into alignment. It's the difference between losing control and reclaiming it. Train yourself to breathe with intention in the small moments so you're ready for the big ones. Practice when you're irritated, not just when you're overwhelmed. Practice when you're waiting in line, when you're in traffic, when your day doesn't go your way. Because once you master your breath, situations that used to break you won't even shake you. That's when you realize calm wasn't something you found. It was something you built. Your emotions will always try to speak louder than your logic, louder than your goals, louder than your discipline. They don't ask permission. They don't knock. They don't wait for the right time. They show up uninvited and try to take the wheel. That's why most people keep repeating the same cycles. They don't have a life problem. They have an emotional management problem. They let frustration guide their decisions. They let anger shape their reactions. They let fear slow their progress. But if you're going to train your mind to stay calm in every situation, you have to master your emotions before your emotions master you. And that starts with understanding that emotions are natural, but they are not supposed to be the leaders of your life. They are indicators, not dictators. They can inform you, but they should never control you, because emotions don't care about your future. They don't care about your responsibilities. They don't care about your dreams. Emotions care about the moment. They care about relief, not results. That's why reacting emotionally always feels good for a second, but costs you for a lifetime. You yell, you lash out, you make a decision you didn't think through, and then you spend days, weeks, even years dealing with the consequences of 5 seconds you didn't control. So the first step is awareness, catching yourself in the moment when the emotion rises. You have to train yourself to notice it before it becomes you. Notice the tension in your shoulders, notice the heat in your chest, notice the pace of your thoughts speeding up. That moment right there is where the battle is, not after you explode, not after you react. The real battle is the moment you feel that emotional wave rising. Most people don't slow down enough to recognize it, so they get dragged by it. But when you can pause long enough to say, "Hold on, I feel myself getting triggered," you've already regained ground. That pause is power, that pause is clarity returning, that pause is your mind stepping back into the driver's seat. Once you're aware, the next step is discipline. Emotional discipline is not about suppressing how you feel. It's about directing how you respond. It's saying, yes, I feel angry, but anger won't make this decision for me. Yes, I feel hurt, but hurt won't choose my next words. Yes, I feel frustrated, but frustration doesn't get the final say. Your emotions are passengers. They are not the driver. They can sit in the back, they can talk, but they do not get the steering wheel. And when you put your emotions in their proper place, you find yourself responding with wisdom instead of reacting with impulse. Then comes practice. Mastery isn't built in one moment. It's built in repeated moments where you choose the higher response. Every situation you face is an opportunity to train. Someone disrespects you, that's training. Someone cuts you off. Training. Someone disappoints you, betrays you, talks about you. Training, and the more you train, the stronger your emotional boundaries become. Suddenly things that used to trigger you don't even bother you. Situations that used to ruin your mood don't even touch your spirit. You start moving differently, not because life got easier, but because you stopped letting your emotions run your life. And then something powerful happens. When you no longer react impulsively, you start seeing the truth behind situations. You see intentions clearly. You make better choices. You move with maturity instead of insecurity. You realize that most conflicts aren't even about you. Most drama is noise. Most emotional battles aren't worth the energy. You protect your peace, your clarity, your vision, because you understand how valuable they are. And in that state of emotional mastery, you become someone who can't be manipulated, can't be provoked, can't be pulled out of character. Because when you master your emotions, you master your life. Most people think calm is something that just happens in the moment, like it's a switch you flip when things get hard. They believe they'll suddenly rise to the challenge when chaos hits, suddenly become composed, suddenly think clearly under pressure. But the truth is, you don't rise to the occasion, you rise to the level of your preparation. Calm is not created in chaos. Calm is revealed in chaos. It's built long before the moment arrives. It's shaped when nobody's watching, when nobody's clapping, when nobody knows you're even working. Calm is a result of training, repetition, practice, discipline, quiet habits done in peaceful moments, so they become automatic in stressful ones. You have to prepare in peace if you want to perform in chaos. Think about soldiers, athletes, leaders, anyone who operates under extreme pressure. They don't wait for the pressure to show up to start training. They train so intensely, so intentionally, that by the time the storm comes, their response is already wired into their system. They've conditioned themselves to remain steady. They've programmed their mind to stay focused. They've built emotional muscle memory. That's why they look unshakable. They rehearsed the moment long before the moment came. Your mind works the same way. You can't expect calm to show up for you if you haven't practiced it. You can't expect clarity to appear if you never trained for it. You can't expect yourself to respond with strength if you've only ever reacted with emotion. Calm has to be rehearsed. It has to be built in the small moments, those everyday situations that seem insignificant. When your day doesn't go right, when someone tests your patience, when the plan changes, when disappointment hits, that's your training ground. That's where you shape the calm you'll need in bigger battles later. Most people waste those moments. They complain, they react, they get irritated, they get emotional, but every one of those moments is an opportunity to prepare for something larger. If you can't stay calm in a minor inconvenience, how will you stay calm in a major crisis? If you can't control yourself when life whispers, how will you control yourself when life screams? Preparation in peace is what gives you dominance in chaos, and preparation is not glamorous, it's not loud. It doesn't boost your ego or impress anyone. It's quiet, it's internal, it's repetitive. It's choosing discipline over impulse again and again until it becomes natural. It's having conversations with yourself. It's learning to breathe. It's learning to pause. It's learning to think. It's training your mind to go from automatic reaction to intentional response. You're conditioning yourself to make peace a habit, not a luxury, not a coincidence, not a rare moment, but a trained state of mind. And the more you prepare, the more chaos loses its ability to intimidate you. Suddenly, situations that used to overwhelm you feel manageable. Problems that used to scare you become challenges you know how to approach. Pressure that used to break you now sharpens you. Because your mind doesn't collapse under demand, it performs. Not because you're lucky, not because life got easier, but because you trained for it. And that's when people start asking you, how are you so calm? How are you so steady? How are you handling this like it's nothing? They don't understand that what they're seeing in public is the result of what you practiced in private. They see the fruit, but they didn't see the discipline that planted it. They see the strength, but they didn't see the sacrifices that built it. They see the calm, but they didn't see the preparation that created it. You are not born calm. You build calm. You prepare for it. You practice it. You shape it through repetition until it becomes your default, your weapon, your advantage. And when you can stay grounded no matter what comes your way, life no longer overwhelms you. It obeys you.